Welcome to A Funny Thing Called Business, where 4 business owners with over 30 years collective experience under our belts share the capers and triumphs of running a small business and how we now avoid perilous customer chaos and pitfalls. So welcome everybody. Here we have Claire,
Darren,
Kate,
and Pete.
Brilliant. Okay. So today we are talking about the new networking and no-nos. I have to say, guys, I have been very excited about this recording of this podcast because, well, we are all, pretty avid networkers and obviously moving online now. I just can't wait to hear our stories of what's been going on and all the no-nos associated with the new networking. So I'm going to dive straight in, guys. So, Kate, what's your favourite story that you've come across through the new networking?
Well, I think that it's been quite interesting watching people experiment with different effects and things like that on their backgrounds and on their faces and things like that. And my favourite one that I've come across is somebody managed to turn themselves into a talking potato and couldn't work out how to switch it off again. And they had to be a potato for the meeting.
Oh, how did you do that? That sounds cool.
Oh, yeah, I thought that was just genius. But there's been a few of those things. People do their background as if they're doing their call from the Starship Enterprise and things like that. And it's just like, oh dear. I suppose it's an improvement on. I mean, I've seen inside so many bedrooms. I've seen people's laundry. I'm just like, oh. Perhaps being a potato from the Starship Enterprise is actually not that's a bad solution.
I do love the virtual backgrounds, especially when people suddenly sort of disappear into the background or they lose an arm because of...
Yes.
Yeah, I also love the fact that Star Trek fans are going to be going berserk now because it's like, it's not a potato from Star Trek. I think you'll find it's the Glorkin race and they look like potatoes, but they're not. That's what's going to be happening now, Kate. You've offended the nerd.
Speaking of foreign language, that is, I don't know any Star Trek in terms, nothing.
Oh, you're missing out. You're missing out, Claire. One of the ones, because I've been speaking to a few people and I've got a couple of stories that people have sent in. They've asked for this to be anonymous, but I don't know why, because there's no names given. There was a time, and Zoom have now got better at guarding against this, when you could just dial into any call if you just put in a meeting ID. And they were having, it was a group business chat. There was about 15 people on the call. Turns out there was 16 people on the call. And there was someone making suggestions. This was like a business strategy. They were going, no, I think that's a good colour to paint that on. I think that's a good way to... And it was only after the meeting they were like, who was that? I have no idea. I thought, does he not work in HR? No, I don't think he does work in HR. Does he? Wait a minute, does he not work in logistics? No idea. This guy's just clicked in to some kind of... and just started making suggestions. And I love the fact that there's I won't tell you the company, that's the thing. There's a multinational company that is possibly going to be making decisions that were made by a complete stranger who they don't even know.
That's brilliant. That guy somewhere is laughing his head off that he got into that meeting and was able to, talk.
Oh, brilliant. To people's weddings, only about random weddings, just to help him out to the buffet, chat to a few people, have a few free drinks, and then clear off.
The meeting crashers. There's the title for you. I got a story shared with me, a connection of mine who was at a women's networking group. She said a man turned up on the Zoom But she said he said it was okay because I'm here because I sell products and offer a service to women. Oh, okay then. So what do you sell? Shopping bags. His first mistake. He was a women's networking group because he sells shopping bags. But then he went on to share that you could make them bespoke. You know, you could put things on there about your ex-boyfriend or your like neighbour that you didn't like. And it was just giving all these really bad suggestions about the kind of things you could write on the bag about your ex-boyfriend. So at some point, someone said, you could have a lawsuit on your hands there, mate. So just be a little bit careful with that. At that point, he got into a real struggle, pulled his duvet up, and spent the rest of the meeting just sitting there with his duvet around him, not speaking.
Oh, dear. And that is why men don't get invited to women's only networking groups.
Exactly.
Now I understand.
Oh,
That is incredible.
Is he still in there now with his duvet? Like,
Probably still sulking. Oh dear. I just thought that was brilliant. So brilliant. That's where as a host I'd have like turned the video off, muted him, kicked him out for some reason. Yeah. Oh, Darren.
I don't really have a story as such, but I do have a kind of observation from doing quite a bit of virtual networking. I think last time when we spoke about networking, I mentioned that I do quite a lot of networking, and now it's all online. It's easier to attend, but one observation that I see in a lot of networking meetings, when you're giving your kind of 60 seconds or when you're talking and you have the floor, you see a lot of people, they're kind of looking down, and you can never be quite sure if they're, got their pen in their hands writing notes or if they're playing Candy Crush. And you have to kind of I suppose it's either you have to be optimistic and just hope they're making copious notes. But really, that you can see the kind of the glow back from the mobile phone, can't you? Really, so you've lost them.
You don't have the Starship Enterprise as your background. Maybe that's where you're going wrong.
Yeah, it could be.
That's absolutely right, though, isn't it? There's a lot of people. And, I chair and host a few networking groups. So, this is what I see all the time. People who are turning up and just keeping their screen off. And to me, that's walking into a face-to-face networking group with a bag over your head. What's the point?
Yeah.
So please, listeners, if you are turning up to networking groups and just keeping your screen off, it's pointless. Completely pointless. You might as well go and spend an hour doing something more interesting instead.
Because I had a client do that on a meeting the other day. It was a Zoom call. We booked it. I went into the call, and then they came up, but just their name came up, and then I could hear their voice. And I said, "Oh right." I said, "I can't see you. Is there a problem?" And he went, "Oh no, I don't have a webcam. So we'll just okay. So why do a Zoom call? We could have."
Pick up the phone.
On the phone. How about that? Is there anything particular? And it just.
He just wanted to see you. That was the thing, Pete.
That could be it.
Yeah.
It could easily be it. I mean, if he's that much of some kind of a masochist, then yeah.
It does send you into confusion, doesn't it? I mean, me as a chair, it sends you into confusion as to why have you got your screen switched off?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, what are you doing?
What are you hiding?
Well, yeah. They're playing Candy Crush. That's the problem.
They are. They're hiding the glow.
Well, there's a story that a friend of mine told me. I've seen a screenshot of this call, so I know it's true. However, unfortunately, because I was like, oh, please let me use it and we can put it on social media and we can let everybody else. So this story is absolutely true, but I can't share this screenshot.
Okay.
So he works in the US and he's an audio engineer, does a lot of Zoom calls, and he has quite a famous client who he had a Zoom call with.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of forgot. It was a bit late, so he was a bit messy. He was a bit kind of sweaty and stuff. He'd just been walking the dog, And he was like, all right, okay. But they'd known each other for a while. So we thought, oh, actually, they're going to be okay with this. It's not going to be too bad. So gets onto this Zoom call and they're chatting for a little bit. And this famous client said, oh, there's just one more person who's going to be coming in. And then that was when, you know, that moment when you think, okay, I think I've made a mistake not looking a little bit better on this Zoom call. And the other person came up, and it was just some kind of random person, and they said, oh, right, okay, we're all connected, aren't we? Yeah, can everyone hear me? Okay, I'll just go and get him. And then Elton John comes and sits in the call. Because it's something to do with this famous client and Elton John are going to be doing a song together for
You heard it here first, guys.
Exactly. When I get the link of the song, we'll share the link on social media. But my friend Ian was probably like that real kind of deer in the headlights. One, oh my God, it's Elton John. But on the other side was, I look a wreck. I look an absolute mess at this. So, and I mean, it happened a good 2 or 3 months ago. But he was just devastated. He should have just, I'm just going to turn my camera off.
Yeah.
I don't have a webcam. Sorry.
Therein lies the point, though, doesn't it? Just because you're in your home and it's over Zoom, let's not let all the, all the basics go. You're still going to a professional business meeting. Don't turn up on Zoom, the same as differently to turning up face to face.
So wear clothes, is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Right.
Be wearing clothes, have your hair done, usual expectancies of when you go into a business meeting.
Well, now we know what we need to do for the next episode, and Darren and I can only apologise for this recording. We thought it was just more relaxed. We thought we had.
No,
I'll be honest,
we
though.
expect you to be fully dressed.
And that's why I'm not standing up.
Too much.
But I have a shirt in my office because most of the time I'm around the house. I've been walking the dogs, I've got a T-shirt on. And if I know I'm doing something professional, it's like, right, quick, put my shirt on.
Yeah.
And just because I'm not going to sit around in a shirt all the time.
No, that's fair.
Me and the dogs.
Yeah.
So, guys, we are 7 months in to this new networking at the time of recording this. So, what do you wish you had known at the start?
How difficult it is to keep eye contact.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking down the camera now, and that makes it look like I'm keeping eye contact with you.
Yeah.
But of course, I'm not. If I want to keep eye contact, I'm looking at you.
Yeah.
On your screen, I'm not keeping eye contact. So that's something that I always kind of work against, of not keeping eye contact.
I find it incredibly hard to look down the camera because if I'm looking down the camera, I want to see your reactions and feedback.
Yeah.
So I find it very hard to give eye contact over Zoom. Darren, what about you? What do you wish you'd have known at the start of it all? I have to say, I'm glad I didn't know that it was going to be 7 months and we were still doing it.
Yeah.
No, if I'd have been able to carry on at the thought of 7 months.
I think I'd have learned to appreciate face-to-face networking a bit more, perhaps.
Yeah.
I mean, I think when we spoke before about kind of learnings during the lockdown, we spoke about how when you don't have physical meetings and it's all virtual, you do kind of buy back the time that normally you'd spend traveling, to and from the meeting. But you do also, with networking, miss out on the informal elements of it as well. So, the kind of getting a cup of coffee and chatting over, randomly sort of, how many kids you got or whatever it might be, or those kind of chit chat elements. And you don't really get that much with the online kind of networking groups and things. So yeah, I think maybe learning to appreciate that side of it more when eventually we are back to face, if that ever happens, then I think we'll have a newfound respect for the chit chat.
Yeah. Do you think the lack of chit chat is hindering business? Because of course that is where you build the relationships, you build
Totally.
rapport with each other, and without that happening, it is making it more formal, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I think that's the thing. Business comes out of those relationships because you like people that you meet, and you kind of learn to trust them through normal kind of human interactions, rather than people just standing up and giving a 60-second spiel about their business. So that's just kind of the information element, isn't it, rather than the actual relationship building. So I think definitely, yeah.
Kate, what about you? What do you wish you'd known?
I wish I'd known to have got some shares in Zoom. I think that would have been good.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
My favourite thing I've seen my favourite spoof thing I've seen is an image of a Scooby-Doo character saying, right, let's see who's behind this pandemic then, and they remove the bag and it's like a Zoom logo.
Oh, that's
pretty well out of it now. So I think one of the things that has taken us a lot of time to sort of get to grips with is having a structure to it. You have to be much more careful to be structured, because like I say, it's harder to have that chit chat, and so we're having to sort of learn to do new things like breakout rooms and be prepared as well. So one of my biggest things that I'm not the best at is if I want to share my screen or something, then I have to do my like this weird facial expression where I go a bit blank. I'm just like, hold on a minute, and I have to go around rummaging around for the files and things like that I want to share. It's and those weird faces that you pull when you're like, right, it's time to leave the meeting now. Like, where's the button? So just trying to be prepared and learn your way around it. Really, I've doing a bit of online stuff anyway, but I think now it's the norm and we're doing so much more of it. I think we're a lot better at it now than we were.
Yeah.
But I think the more structured, particularly networking, I did attend one recently and it was very structured, and I was like, it felt like a good meeting. But I still come out the other end of it going, can I remember who people are, remember their names, what they do? Unless you meet them face to face, it's still ever so hard. So I don't know. I suppose another thing is just make more notes who people are and try and work a bit harder at building those relationships.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Kate, because I'm just trying to think back, of me running these two networking groups. But of course, I knew all the people who attend them in person beforehand. So have I actually met anybody new through networking that has resulted in, a good working relationship? I'm not sure that I have. Has anybody else met somebody new through networking in the last couple of months?
I think I've met lots of new people in the kind of, in meetings, and then had Zoom one-to-ones with them afterwards, but in terms of physically meeting them,
But what I'm saying is it resulting in, good relationships coming from online, just purely online networking, as in you haven't met them ever in person?
I don't think so, actually.
No, I don't think so either.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. So,
because for me, I think we've all got new clients over the previous months, and we've been very lucky to do that because we know so many industries have been struggling or have had to kind of close. And normally, I like to meet my clients. I like to kind of at least once physically meet them, and of course, I've not been able to do that. So there's that kind of disconnect of I've got clients that I've never really met, and you feel like, okay, well, we seem to be getting on okay, but there is that. I feel there's like almost kind of a
something.
Yeah, there's just not a barrier, but again, it's that disconnect.
Yeah,
I don't feel that we've got to know each other as well. I've not got to know them as well as I would have done.
Yeah,
if we'd sat down and had a coffee somewhere.
Yeah, and it's funny, just saying about I don't think I've met anyone networking. I have. I met somebody a couple of weeks ago through Chamber Networking who is now a client. So scrap all of that. It does work. But there was a couple of other things in play, as in other people who knew me introduced. So there was a whole other lot of work going around, building up that rapport as well. It wasn't just solely, I met her on that and then she became a client. There was other factors in play. So, we've spoken a lot about how marketing, how it all works together. And, networking is no different. Through networking, they might see you on social channels, or they might have spoken to a colleague or a connection that you'd already worked with. So it just all works together, doesn't it? I'm loving breakout rooms on Zoom. And I don't know whether breakout rooms were in existence at the beginning of it all, but I kind of wish I'd have known at the beginning about breakout rooms because of a bigger networking group that I chair of like 25 women. Breakout rooms are a saviour.
I was on a call, funnily enough, just before this recording, where the host of the meeting put us all into breakout rooms and then immediately put us all back into the main room. And then put us into breakout rooms, and then immediately put us back in. So, and it really was like, come on now. This is so you kind of, we'd all get together and go, oh, good to see you. Okay, so this is my bit. Oh no, we're going back into the main room. And basically you just got a little bit over enthusiastic on what he was pressing. But no, I agree. I think breakout rooms are they are the kind of grabbing a cup of coffee and standing in a small group before the main networking meeting started aspect of virtual networking. And like you were saying, we were saying earlier on, that's where the proper networking happens, I seem to think.
Yeah.
There's a countdown, isn't there? And then it's just like, you'll return to the main session in 3, 2, 1. You're nearly always in the middle of saying the most important bit.
Yeah.
And then you're just like thrown back into the main session again. You're like, oh.
And you don't realise and you're still talking.
From room to room.
But it is good, I agree. I think it's a nice way of, that's the way of trying to get, the chit-chat bit that's missing, isn't it? And make it a bit easier to talk to people. It's not, we met with a wall of faces all blinking at you. It's a bit hard to go, oh. But the chat feature's quite good, isn't it? You can do the personal chat to people.
Yeah.
That works quite well, doesn't it?
Yeah, I really like the chat feature, and I like to get on it quite early, just to kind of say hi everyone, and just let people know that it's there and people can.
It makes it feel a bit more informal as well.
Yeah.
It's a bit like passing notes around school. So
I never did that. Claire. I don't know what you're talking about.
Goody two shoes. Can't imagine at all. So, guys, what's something that you failed at over Zoom? And come on, I want to hear. I want to hear some good stories. Has anyone messed up? Has anyone walked through naked?
No, I've not walked through naked. I forgot I was doing a Zoom call. So until I got an email saying, your guest is in the Zoom call. And I was like, what's that now? So I went into the Zoom call and I was due to be, I got the days mixed up and I was due to be delivering some training, and thankfully it was one-on-one. It wasn't a big group, but it really was.
John wasn't there then, no?
No, it was not on that one, but it was, that where you can feel yourself going red and you can feel yourself kind of starting to get very hot and starting, in my case, I'm a big bloke, starting to perspire slightly, because it was like, can I bluff my way out of this? Or because I'd not done the prep because I thought it was the next day. And I think I just about got away with it.
Until this recording goes out, Pete.
Yeah. But it was, that was, it's one of those that I still, in the middle of the night, I'll still kind of wake up and think of that meeting, of that being late for that, because it was just that realization of, oh, you've really cocked up now. and everything kind of falling away in your head.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what
I'd have also been very hot at that.
Yeah.
When you said that you forgot you were on a Zoom call, I thought you were going to say that, you're just gone about your daily business and the Zoom call was going on in the background.
It was just people going, oh, is Pete all right? He's not connected, or he's not.
He's hoovering.
I was just sitting at me at my desk, so I'm just here singing along with whatever's on the radio.
So, Darren, what about you?
Well, I think for me, I suppose the worst crime is having an occasional poor connection when you're kind of right in the middle of giving a presentation or something, and then the whole thing kind of wigs out, and you just kind of go into buffer as far as everyone else is concerned, and you're making some really great points, and you don't realise, and then you suddenly hear someone kind of saying, "Oh, I think we've lost him." It's like, oh, what was this? And you kind of lose that whole presentation. Really throws you off your stride. I think that's the kind of, that's one of the downsides of it a little bit, but that's about as bad as it's got. I've never quite done the thing where I forgot that I'm not on mute or something like that and called someone I don't know.
That's because we're ultimate professionals, guys.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm really good at timing it and making sure I'm on mute when I say that.
And just putting your hand over your mouth. Kay, are you the ultimate professional?
Oh, never. No, I think generally I've done pretty well, but there have been a couple of instances. I may have already shared these stories on previous episodes, but it's worth repeating because they're quite good ones. Well, the first one was when I've got two clients with the same name, and I arranged a Zoom call with one, and then when the call connected, it was with the other one, and I had nothing to say, and I was like, "Oh, quick, think of something really."
Did you just flag your way through it?
Oh, I did. Oh, hello. No. Rearrange your features. Don't look surprised. Quick, a potato filter. Yeah, so I did that one. So that was awful. It was a bit cringe. And then the other one was, and this is a lesson to us all. To going back to that point, you're in a business meeting. You're not at home. Don't. Yeah. As if you're at home.
Yeah.
Particularly don't break wind when you're on a Zoom call, because the microphone will pick up the sound and put your face on the screen because it thinks you've done it.
Lights up.
And they were just like, so that happened to me. And they were like, did you have something to say, Kate? I was like, no. There might have been another sound, perhaps, that came out. So don't do that either.
The only thing for me is picking up, and it's answers on a postcard, this one, for when you're chairing a meeting of 20 plus people and somebody does turn up on mute with their camera off. Me, I can be quite feisty. How do you handle those situations? Because to me, that's having someone in the room that shouldn't be in the room. And it's hard to kind of pick somebody out when you're, on a Zoom call. That's like doing the teacher thing. Step outside, come back in when you're ready.
Put them in a breakout room.
Put them in a breakout room.
On their own. And they can think about their actions and what they're doing.
Yes.
Perfect.
You've let yourself down, you've let the Zoom call down, and you've let your parents down.
Oh,
you could chat to them privately, I suppose. You could start a private chat and go, what the who? What are you doing? Crack on.
Yeah, you do realise you got a paper bag on your head, yeah?
Yeah.
Sometimes there's a reason, isn't there? That might be like, I have connectivity issues or something, or I don't know. But there's still, it just feels a bit impolite. You wouldn't turn up to a meeting like that, would you? And just go, don't look at me.
No. But I've got the solution now. If you get sent into a breakout room on one of my meetings, you know why.
Good to know. Has anyone used the poor connectivity excuse to leave a meeting early?
No.
I don't know what's going on with the as your hand reaches for the mouse and you hover over the leave meeting button. I think I'm just so if I drop out, it's just the bad Wi-Fi here. But I'm gonna, as you're eyeing your lunch in the corner. I don't know what it is. It might just go at any time, and then that's it.
You're too good at that, Pete.
Yeah, sorry. I've never done that. Can I just say, if anyone is listening to this and thinking, oh, he had connectivity issues when we had that meeting. I've never, ever done it.
But you're going to hate it now if you do genuinely have connectivity issues.
I'm telling you.
He's starting to sweat.
I am. Well, is it hot in here, or is it just me?
It's just you. Other than, you know, the little bits of chit chat that you have that are important at face-to-face networking, what can't you get through Zoom networking?
I think, again, it comes back to what I was saying earlier on about not being able to look people, and you picked up on it as well, of you can't read the room as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you must find that when you're chairing 25 people on a Zoom call, how can you possibly kind of read the room, how they're feeling, how they're reacting? Are they enjoying it? Are they not? That's the kind of the biggest thing I find if I'm on a Zoom call. Of I don't know who's, I don't know, you know, you don't get the energy.
No,
anymore.
no.
You know, that's a big downside of it being virtual.
Yeah, and I think a way around what I do, because I've chaired meetings as well with like 50 on a Zoom, and what I do in those is get people moving. So I will get people to stand up and stretch and do something different, because you do have to change that energy, because it can be, you know, I need to move about a lot because I suffer with a bad back, and I've had Zoom neck a lot throughout this time. So I do get people moving about, and, you know, that's what you'd do in a meeting as well, a face-to-face meeting, wouldn't you, to have breaks and what have you? So you kind of have to treat it the same.
Yeah, I think that's it. And the things like the people's concentration and that kind of thing, there is distractions when you're sitting in your home office or in your bed or whatever, and things are going on around you. You know, it's easy to get distracted.
Sitting in your bed, you can at least pull the duvet over your head when you've had enough.
Yeah, exactly. Because I was on another networking Zoom call the other day, and everyone was kind of going around and giving. There was only about maybe 12 people on it, so everyone was giving their thoughts on a particular aspect of running a business, and they went to this one lady, and we all thought she was on mute because she's kind of talking away, and you can see her mouth moving, and she's very animated, and we were kind of like, oh, just send her a chat, or has anyone got a mobile number? Or clearly there's an issue, because it didn't look like she was on mute. And then eventually she came back. She goes, oh, I was really sorry. I'm really sorry. I was on another call. So she had Zoom on one and she had like Teams on another. And we were like, what? How? What? And
No,
like,
that is a big no.
Of course it is. That's a terrible no. But it's because she knew the previous speaker and she knew what they were going to say. So she was like, oh, well, I'll just deal with this other call while I'm on the... No, come on, guys, now.
That's shocking.
You know. So, yeah, that's a definite no-no. Don't double up. You wouldn't do it in a business meeting.
Of course you wouldn't.
You wouldn't do a normal networking thing, would you? Be sat in the room eating your breakfast going, I'm just on the phone to my other network meeting. If I stand up and do 60 seconds before it's my time in this room, apologies. You know, it just doesn't work.
No, it's not good. So what are you taking away from our conversation today, guys? First of all, do you feel happy with your performance over Zoom networking in the last 7 months?
Well,
anybody been eating their breakfast over Zoom?
I
feel some confessions coming on.
No. I basically it was an early morning meeting. It's a networking group we've mentioned before. So it was BNI, but it was about 6:45 in the morning, and I brought my breakfast, because normally if it was a face-to-face one, you would have breakfast. So I think it was. I deliberately didn't kind of have a full cooked breakfast. I think it was like a banana and a cereal bar or something. Just something, and I was trying to be relatively discreet about it, and someone messaged me and went, I hope that tastes as good as it looks. Like, what? What? And there was like about 20 odd people, and it's like it was looking at me while I'm doing this. So from then on, never ever.
Picking your nose in the car, it's just a no-no.
Yeah, exactly. Someone will see you.
People can see
Someone will
you.
That looked like a really good banana.
That's a whole different Zoom call.
Think
That's the next topic. Kate, what are you taking away from the conversation today?
I think conversations like this are really helpful, actually, just to, we're all sort of trying to make the best of using technology to do things that, it feels a bit unnatural, really, to be doing it this way, but, we're doing the best we can, and I think we can laugh at ourselves with some of the clangers that we may have dropped or other people have dropped along the way. But generally, it's just, I think it's just a great way of trying to keep business going, isn't it? And keep connected to other people. And I think trying to find the humour in the situation is, it's quite important to do that, really, isn't it? Because I think having been able to get together and talk about business stuff and have a bit of a laugh about some of the things we might be struggling with, it's in a way that's been quite difficult to keep that bit going, isn't it? Through lockdown.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so I think it's been good to just find some of the humour in it, and also feel, I feel like I'm doing pretty well. I think I'm doing okay. I haven't, I've dropped clangers, but they have by no means the worst ones I've heard of. I haven't been to the loo or anything like that through a Zoom call. So.
No one's talking about them on another podcast.
No.
No, I think that's a really important point, Kate. And, I personally am giving myself a pat on the back because, I've kept networking groups going without missing a beat over it all. And, we are so lucky to have this technology and so lucky to have other business owners around us that are, committed and, engaged in these Zoom meetings and engaged in speakers. So everybody who I've networked with over the last, 7 months through my own groups, through the chamber, through all sorts of different groups, let's all give ourselves a big pat on the back for carrying on in true British style, guys. Because it's been a lifeline for many, hasn't it, in business to keep talking and, like you say, Kate, to keep business moving.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we have been lucky to have this technology. It'd be good if we could adapt it a bit better to filter out fart sounds and things like that.
Zoom, are you listening?
There's a bit of a way to go, but
I didn't realise you had such a flatulence problem, Kate.
Exactly.
I know I do have a dog as well. I don't know why I didn't just say it was the dog.
But you know now. So let's finish up there then. Thanks ever so much. And for all our listeners, please share, subscribe and review so all our fellow business owners can enjoy, be inspired and always keep focused on the fun side of business too.
This has been a Monkey Pants Productions podcast.